Esther Harrison will be singing at the morning session here each day during the week. He'll be leading the music and singing in the tabernacle each night during the week. And will also be in our Saturday night program. We featured him this last Saturday night. He was the visiting guest. This coming Saturday night, we're having sort of a hometown talent. Everybody's going to be in the act. And Hilding, it dawned on me last night when I was laying there trying to sleep and figure something out. It dawned on me what I was keeping awake for. I was keeping awake to remind myself to ask you if you'd honor me with singing the duet with me come Saturday night.
Let's do it.
We have done that, I think, 20 years ago and 40 years ago. Maybe we better bring it up to date.
I'd love to. It'd be an honor for me.
I don't know, you can sing your song and I'll sing mine. We'll call it a duet. But that's part of the program Saturday night. He just consented to it. We're going to have a great time. He took away from me the pleasure which I was going to have of introducing his wife. Can I introduce her again? Delighted to have introduced to you Mrs. Hilding Halverson. You want to say? You didn't ask me if you could introduce her. You're not supposed to take over like that. I want you to know a few of the people that will be on the grounds that you'll be meeting. First of all, we've had a delightful experience this summer in having Reverend and Mrs. R.E. Thompson with us. If you're just here for the first time this summer, may I just briefly say, he was with the CIM, the China Inland Mission, for many years, and one of its directors. Then, when things closed over there, he came back to the Detroit area and organized what we now call the Missionary Internship, which I think is one of the great arms of missionary activity. And then he retired, and he and his wife went back to their native Ireland, and so many bullets going around and bombs exploding over there in Ireland, and he thought, I'll get out of this. So they came back to this country. They've been with us during the summer. They're in the Southland during the winter. I hope until the Lord takes them home, they'll be here every summer, for they have meant much to us. And I want you to meet Reverend and Mrs. Thompson, right here. In the morning, the prayer cell that meets here, as Mr. Schufeld has already stated, is conducted by this man. And I don't know how you get to both places at the same time. I urge you to be there at 9 o'clock up in the prayer chapel overlooking the lake, and I urge you to be here at 9 o'clock. And if you've got a split personality, maybe you can do that. I don't know. But join one of the cells, I'm sure, for that morning period. Mrs. Burry, I want you to stand so they'll know the lady who is in charge of our book room, right back here. Pat Burry will be there, as Mr. Schufeld mentioned, an hour before the service at night and an hour after the service at night, or as long as you want to browse around. And this is her contribution to the work of the Lord. She's not on salary. She does it because she loves to be doing it. And we appreciate Mrs. Burry and her daughter who helps Mrs. Johnson when she's here. Don't fail to stop by the book room. We have another couple that is with us throughout the summer, Mr. and Mrs. Sig Nelson. I want you to stand, if you please. They've been with us all during the summer. Mrs. Nelson sort of keeps her eye on India Inn across the street. And sort of you're the hostess for you that stay over there. And her smile will greet all of you around the grounds. Mr. Nelson, retired now, but for many years spent his life in a legal fashion, settling estates and working out wills and all of this that goes along this, settling insurance claims and what have you. He asked if he could contribute to the work of the Lord by just being here to help people that are perplexed about what to do with their wills and how to get their estate settled so that they would have no worry. We found many, especially older people, are skeptical of attorneys and of banks and so on. They think everybody's after something. And especially somebody coming out and knock the door and want to help you with your will. You think, well, they want me to, give them something. This man will give you counsel and guidance and information that's very valuable if you talk to him. And he does it all because he loves the Lord and wants to meet the friends here and be of help at Maranatha. Someone said I couldn't afford to get that kind of advice. There's no charge. This is his contribution to the work of the Lord, and we appreciate the Nelsons very much. He always waves his hand at me when I'm talking about him to remind me that an offering should be taken. We don't have ushers in this room, so we put the plates right in the center of the table. And that makes it much easier. Instead of passing a plate to all of you, one at a time, we just put it there. May I tell you about our offerings? One of the phases of our, or one of the sections of our budget calls for a certain figure each week to underwrite what we call the tabernacle expense. The honorariums for our speakers, musicians, their entertainment while here, and the custodian in the tabernacle and the lights over there and so on. A certain amount of the budget that we find is necessary for tabernacle expense. We broke this down. It runs out to $1,350 a week. And last year, I was just looking up my record, last year when I met the audience on this night, corresponding night last year, I had to tell them that we were $300 behind in our budget. And I'm pleased to say that the group that was here the last week, last year, not only took care of their portion, but made up the deficit. So when we came to the end of the summer, we were $40 over. It wasn't much, but we were $40 over. People are let down. That's all taken care of. In fact, we have a little surplus. I'm not going to say much about that because that would dissuade you from doing what you think you should do this week. There is a responsibility this week. This is probably the longest offering speech I'll make all week long, but I just wanted to say what I did to let you know how we operate. I told the Lord at the beginning of the summer I wasn't going to make long offering speeches this year. I said, I'm going to tell you what we need, and then I'm going to let you tell the people, because you know which ones can help and which ones to talk to. And he's done it. And very little has been said about it during this summer, and we are ahead. And personally, I'm thanking the Lord for the way he's cared for us. We raised our budget this year. I think our budget was some $500–600 that we were seeking over last year. We not only have to pick that up, but we're a little ahead. And I'm be happy to make this report to our board at the close of the year. Right now, I think she's probably out. But I do have a wife, and she's here. I'm 6'1", and she's 4'11". And she's short, and I'm tall. And I remember the old saying by Confucius, who said it is better to have loved a short gal than never to have loved a tall. She's not here, so I can tell her. She's the other end of a loudspeaker somewhere. I'm going to catch it when I get home. But it's worth it. I want to introduce to you our conference hostess, a lady who is in charge of making everybody happy. She sees that there's cookies on the table in the morning and some coffee. I think she has some things planned, she and her helpers, for this evening. She conducts the Saturday morning hour for ladies only. I remember one week her assignment was to visit every cottage and every trailer on the ground and get acquainted with all the 70 families, which she did. She'll be around probably and meet every one of you sometime during these days. I appreciate Mrs. Murphy and that which she's done during these summer days. It's meant so much to our conference program. And to close the hour this evening, I'm going to ask her to take over. She'll help you get acquainted, and she'll have some refreshments for you, and anything else that she'd like to do, within reason.
All right. You are in rare form tonight. I
I've been practicing all summer.